Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Jamaluddin Connell Monet, and I'm a professor at Al Akhawan University in Morocco. I converted to Islam 13 years ago, and in this video, I'd like to tell you about my conversion and also talk about my research today in the field of Islamic studies. I'm going to film this video in English, Arabic, Farsi, and French, so if you're more comfortable following in one of those languages, feel free. I wasn't born to a Muslim family. I came from a family with very, very strong Christian evangelical roots. And when I finished high school, I decided to go to an evangelical college so I could study Christianity and understand the faith that I was born with a little bit better. At Bible college, I studied the history of Christianity, the history of the Bible, how Christianity came to be what it is today, and I also studied about Islam. I got involved briefly with da'wah to Muslims. So I understood a little bit about the Quran and a little bit about Muslims. I think while I was making da'wah to Muslims, some of the brothers were making da'wah to me, and I found that the more that I studied Islam, the more attractive I found it. I finished my one-year certificate, and then I went to University of Ottawa to begin a degree in classical studies, and that means that I was studying ancient languages and ancient cultures. While I was at University of Ottawa, I had a real crisis of faith. I realized the reasons why I was Christian were not good enough really for me to stay Christian. So I began as a university student to study different religions. I took different courses with different professors. I read books about all the great major faiths in the world. Today I teach courses on some of those faiths. I found as a student that Islam was the only religion that made real sense to me, and I want to tell you why. I read books about Islam not written by Muslims because I didn't trust Muslim scholars. Instead, I read books about Islam written by people like Dr. John Esposito and Karen Armstrong, who are not Muslim scholars, but they work on Islam. And I found that almost without exception, scholars agree that the Quran is a perfect book. There's no mistakes in the Quran. There's a lot of scientific miracles. I was very attracted by the fact that I found stories about people that I knew, people like the prophets David and Solomon and Abraham, peace be on all of them. And I think most of all, I was really attracted when I read about the character of the Prophet Muhammad. He's such an incredible figure. I'm going to talk a little bit at the end of this video about my research about him. So, while I was a student, I began to attend the Islamic Information Center in Ottawa. It's a wonderful place run by a great group of brothers. And I began to really experience sort of the joy of the Ummah, the Muslim community, while I was there. So, as I said before, I came to Islam 13 years ago. I said the Shahada, and it was a wonderful experience. I was so happy. Now, having said that, coming to Islam wasn't the easiest thing I did. My first time going to the main masjid in Ottawa, I came after the Friday prayer, and I wasn't Muslim yet, but I wanted to know how to pray. So I went and I said to some of the brothers, could you teach me how to pray? And you know what they said? They said, we'd like you to leave the masjid. Instead, maybe you can come back some other time when the imam is here. Maybe he can talk to you about Islam. So that was very discouraging for me. It was very discouraging. And after I did take Shahada and become a Muslim, I found that far too many of the brothers at the masjid were not the kind, loving type. They were the kind that were very quick to say haram, especially when I was a new brother and I had no knowledge, but they were very quick to pick on me, and that was very, very discouraging for me as a new believer. I'm telling you this because I worry that this happens to other new believers who are interested in Islam, and if you're one of those kind, good-hearted brothers and sisters and you want to work with converts, I really encourage you to do it because they need to see kind, warm, loving faces in the masjid. It's very important. So after that, I went to the University of Toronto. I did my master's and my PhD in medieval studies. And my research has been in the field of comparative Eastern, Western literature. I'm very interested in seeing medieval texts, especially stories about heroes, from a Christian or a Muslim point of view. And I studied languages again like Arabic and Persian so that I could do this. Today, I'm a professor at Al Akhawan University, and I'm working right now on looking at very famous figures from Islam that are heroes. Alhamdulillah, Allah has given us such incredible figures, most of all like the Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu salam, who, as we know, is the greatest hero in Islam. But there are other important figures, like King Dawood, and also like Khalid ibn Walid, and Sayyidina ibn Umar, and Sayyidina Ali. We have such incredible heroes in Islam, and they don't get talked about enough at university. So, for that reason, I've recently published a book. You can find it on Amazon. And this book is called The Medieval Hero, Christian and Muslim Traditions. I encourage you to get it and to read it, inshallah, if you're interested in this type of research. I'm also working on a new book. It's going to be available next year, inshallah, also on Amazon, and it's going to be called The Hero in Islamic Tradition. And I'm going to be looking, again, at specifically Islamic heroes. This is not a field of research that other people work in for the most part. If also you're in Cairo, I'm going to be in Cairo this November. I'm going to be giving a lecture at University of Cairo on the Prophet Moses alayhi salam as a heroic figure. So if you're interested in coming and hearing my research and you're going to be in Egypt, I'd be happy to see you there. So before I go, I'd like to let you know that if you would like to contact me, if you have questions about Islamic studies, or you're interested in getting into university and maybe doing these type of studies, you can enroll, and I'd be happy to give you some advice on that. My email address is c.manette@aui.ma, that's in Morocco. And if you want to email me, again, my email address will be posted at the end of this video, so feel free to contact me if you have any questions about Islam, about coming to Islam, or about doing academic work, serious academic work, as a Muslim scholar or as a Muslim student. So it's been great getting to talk to you. I hope to see you again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.